Hello and welcome back to the 90s Mad Podcast, your Newcastle United podcast hosted by three lifelong Newcastle United friends. Myself, D-Man, Jefferson and AC. You guys doing all right? How you feeling? I don't think I need to really ask, but you know what I mean? It's can't say we're really happy, but you okay, relatively?
I'm okay, but to be honest, I know we're going to get into that game and the result, but I expected the loss, to be honest. Not to go back on my old words about things, but we're going to get into that. And I don't want to do the AC was right kind of segment already, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, man. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep the followers, the subscribers up, numbers up, algorithm, and all that. But yeah, as mentioned, we're going to review the old the recent game at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea versus Newcastle. Finished Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1. I think we all expected the defeat, to be honest. Thoughts on the overall game? Like, any positives? Anything to take from it? AC, anything? What you got? Hit me some positives, isn't it?
Positives. Isak got back on the scoring sheet. Though it was a tap in, but I'll take it. You know, he's back on the scoring sheet, even though that is goal number 2 of the season so far.
Yeah.
So it's something. So we did score. We didn't come out with absolutely nothing from that game.
Well worked goal as well. That's the positive. It was a well worked goal, I thought.
Yeah, I'd like to see the good overlap as well. I want to give a big shout out to Lewis Hall again. My guy is so good at left back, guys. I can see him like he's progressing each game and like looking good. And I'm like, that position is definitely yours. So I think that's a really good thing to see, his development, and which is quite the ironic thing as well, because he did come from Chelsea as well.
Well, this is it. Jeff, then what about you? Positives? Any other than the goal? Anything else?
Yeah, no, obviously, again, shout out to Lewis Hall. I think there's something in there about some of the things we've seen are glaringly obvious. What I would say though is I think the way we finished the game was quite strong. We actually finished in the ascendancy. And I know this sounds a bit wild, but I think we do need to try Joe Linton at left wing. I know that's Gordon's position, but we looked well more balanced there when Joe Linton was left wing, and then we had Joe Willock left centre midfielder. And dare I say it, we'll get into it. I didn't think Tonali had a good game, another not good game, and we looked better when Longstaff was on the right side. We did.
I don't think so.
We did.
I don't think
so. Quite a few people think so. That's my opinion. But I think
crowd did it. The crowd did it. That's for sure. Because they booed that substitution.
Honestly, I think. Don't get me wrong. We know what Tonali is capable of, but not good enough.
Because he don't get 90 minutes. He doesn't get 90 minutes.
I hear you, but someone of his level should be doing more in 65 minutes.
I think the rest should be. I think he's been as good as the rest of them. If I'm honest,
it's not good enough.
But I will say the positives is that we didn't get battered. Yeah, because a lot of people thought we was going to get worked, and the way the game started, we could have get battered. And probably
4 minutes.
Yeah,
4 minutes.
So
4 minutes. They got the balls in the net, and I was just like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, but let's from the top the lineup, right? So when you saw the lineup, obviously the shock was that Gordon wasn't starting. Got a slight injury in training the day before.
I was excited about that.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, he brought back Miggy into the starting lineup. Were you content with the starting lineup for what you saw? Given the injury, obviously we wanted to see Gordon probably start, but given Harvey Barnes, a lot of people been asking for Harvey Barnes to start. Not me personally, but yeah, a lot of people been asking for Harvey Barnes to start. So were you okay with that?
To be honest, I was actually glad to see Miggy start. To be honest, I think I'm just because of the past games. I think I've had enough of Murphy for a moment. I think Murphy it's one of the things where Murphy needs to be I'm not saying completely dropped, guys, but if you like not starting for a certain game and then like he does start in the cup game, it's almost like he will have something to prove. And this is the thing sometimes when players are out of form and your spot's at risk, you then start realize you have to perform when you do get the opportunity. And I think it's the same with Miggy in a way. And it wasn't too bad. And and when I say not too bad, I'm going by not too bad by his standards, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because when I start looking at stats of his end of that game, I was like, it's really weird because he doesn't really help himself. And there were some moments where like he would just have an opportunity and he shoots, and then once again you got people like Isak just looking at him, just like with his hands down, just like
Isak's got to cheat.
like literally pointing at the ground, like, why don't you pass it to me?
After his performance, he needs to take a hard look at himself. Yeah, about running to anybody else. Yeah, we'll get to that anyway. But
so we'll definitely get into that. But Barnes on the left to start. I think I've really realised, and I think I'm really firmly in this camp now that Barnes is better as a sub. I think.
I've been saying
it's not fair on him, but I do see that, and I feel like this is why I was quite gutted that Gordon missed it, because no one had a clue that he was not going to turn up for the game and be in a starting lineup. But when that happens, because just to say, previously in the week we heard about his new contract. He was doing promo videos. It was all glossy. Shout out to the Newcastle admin team for that, because there was like good promotion about him signing a contract, saying he's really happy at the club. It brought some good enthusiasm to us, right, ahead of that game. And when you realize that this same guy we've been talking about all week is not in the starting lineup, you're like, nah, man. It almost deflates us before we even kick the ball. And I think it did, because
he would be a big factor in that game had he played.
Yeah, I think so, because I think as well, just to go into a little bit of detail of it, I feel like obviously Chelsea are a good side at the moment, and they've got some players that are in form, like Palmer. I feel like Palmer was probably their difference that made them win that game. Let's be honest, he was just on a different level that day, and he's looking like one of the best players for the season, just generally for the Premier League. But generally speaking, I feel like Chelsea at the same time, though, they do look a bit vulnerable as well, and I feel like they're not perfect. Chelsea, let's put this straight, they're not like so good you can't beat them. I feel like there were opportunities where we could have really took them to the sword, but we didn't, and I feel like that hurts me more than actually just getting beaten, because like if we just capitalize on some of the things that we had, or just switch things up a little bit, we actually could have come at that game a bit differently. It could have ended up 2-2, right? Or, you know, or something.
I disagree, bro. I disagree, because had we equalized, I think Chelsea would have scored again. They could have gone up another gear. Because Chelsea, we made it very easy for them. They didn't really have to try. Chelsea were better than us, and they didn't have to try. Yeah, this is the frustrating thing, and we'll get to the tactics and everything in a minute. But Jefferson, what were your thoughts on the actual lineup itself?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for starters, we talked about it before the game. Two keepers on the subs bench. So, you know, where are our attacking players that are in the academy? You know, the likes of Alfie Harrison or Trayvon Sanusi. I don't see the point in having two keepers on the bench. In terms of Barnes, I think we know his game. It's the 1-2s. He looked to come inside, and I saw there was that bit where he got played through. It was a delicious ball. Can't remember who played it through.
Tonali.
And then he was it Tonali, and then
Really?
he's having.
No,
I mean,
I'm teasing
if
him.
that was the case, that was his highlight of the game. But he's having a cut in again, and everybody knows what he's going to do. He's going to do a rasper on his right foot. It's the manager's fault, because what they could be doing is doing a 4-4-1-1, and actually, if he's already in that central position, if he's got an opening, he's got an easier chance of laying off a shot. So that's something they need to look at. As long as the manager continues to play 4-3-3, certain individuals are going to struggle in this team. What I would say about Almiron is he had a chance in the first half. There was a few shades of 2 years ago where him and Bruno linked up quite well, and he got in. And again, it was similar to the Everton game. It's just lack of minutes and rustiness. So, you know, who knows? If he had more minutes behind him, he might have got a good, clean connection on that shot, because he was through there. The other talking point, actually, that I forgot is the bloody penalty. Sorry, not penalty, sending off.
Yeah,
because even if it's not a penalty, it's
Bruno
definitely a sending off, because he's
it wasn't a
through,
penalty, but it was definitely
and he's
threw.
tripped
That was
him
wise,
up,
wasn't it?
and he's tripped him up, because he goes through and he can have a shot on goal. Do you know what I
But
mean?
even Cole's reaction to it, he was like, "It's outside the box. It's outside the box." Like, he knew he fouled him, but it's like it's outside the box. So can I say the ref was atrocious yesterday?
Yeah,
the ref was absolutely diabolical. Yeah, but in terms of the lineup, obviously it was a shock to me to see Gordon not there. when I saw Miggy there, I thought, you know what, as much as I slate Miggy, I thought, listen, Murphy has not been working. You never know. You never know with Miggy. He might do something. Obviously, he had no one had a really good game. He had a decent, okay game in respect to everybody else. Didn't really do much, but they said he had that one opportunity. But he just worked hard, didn't it? That was pretty much it. But going into the game now, obviously, we conceded after 4 minutes. And that was a symptomatic of the whole game, yeah? Because all it was one through ball through the midfield and a straight ball through ball pass. Palmer's in, he slots it in neatly. Obviously, offside, we got a blind there. I actually thought it was offside because that was on the side I went to the game in it, so that's the side I was on.
Oh yeah, you were there live.
I was there. That's why I've got a different perspective about Tonali. I'll get to Tonali in a minute, but the through ball there, and I thought he must be offside there. And I see Double D was texting me like, I think he's off there, you know. So I thought, okay, cool. I was all the Chelsea fans were like celebrating. I was like, yeah, okay, let's see. But then I thought, listen, that there, if we don't address what just happened there, we are going to get battered, right? And then obviously play goes on. Obviously the Bruno incident happened, and then I think 2 minutes after that they score. Yeah. Now this goal here. Now
it's the same again, isn't it? Sorry to interrupt, but it's the same pattern where like we have something at the other end, our end, and it doesn't get taken, and then we can see 2 minutes later. It's the same
midfield.
Yeah, no. It wasn't in the midfield. It's a tactic. I'll tell you why. I don't know what Eddie Howe must have told them, right? But when Chelsea had a goal kick, all of the midfield and all of the attackers, no lie, were pressing so high up the pitch and left our back line exposed on the halfway line with 2 Chelsea players behind them, in front of the back line, behind the midfield.
Yeah.
So all Sanchez had to do was pass to one who turned around and pass it out wide to the winger or pass it through to Jackson through the centre. Bruv, they were clear. And the thing is, that can't be indiscipline. That's a tactic.
Yeah, it's definitely a tactic.
It's the manager told them, because the midfield, in possession, the midfield was okay. The little intricate passes that Bruno, Tonali and Joe were playing at times was good to see. Don't get me wrong, the lack of creativity killed us, yeah? But the tactics defensively was absolutely diabolical. Because even there was a break in play when Cher and Byrne have gone over to Eddie Howe to talk about
it. They're complaining about it, yeah.
But the fact that nothing changed, that's the approach that Eddie Howe must have told him to take. Press Chelsea up high and they won't be able to get in. But when you've got Palmer, their most dangerous player, floating in front of the centre back.
That's suicide.
And like I said, for the goal, sorry, God.
No, I was just going to say, apparently, I only heard that Cher absolutely lost it with Joe Linton, and then Bruno had to separate it or something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the next break, obviously, the centre-back pairing said, look, this can't continue. They've then gone to the manager and say, what's going on? Because apparently the centre-backs were playing a high line as well. Because I noticed something was weird.
What they were doing,
playing a high line as well.
They were playing high, and what they did, they would take it in turns of like Cher or Byrne to push forward on Palmer. So, and he was spinning them every time. There was one point he nutmegged Byrne from about 5 yards. Byrne 5 yards, and he just turned a nutmeg him.
He spun him, yeah.
It was embarrassing. The goal itself, we've lost possession, right? And listen, very good ball from Cole Palmer, right? Good ball. But what have I told you, look?
The vision on that.
What have I told you about Tino Livermento's positional awareness?
Wow.
Yeah?
Wow.
Absolutely diabolical. How have you not cut that out or even tried to cut it out?
And he's jogging back as well.
The jogging back. But the inside play, teams target him, The inside of him, they play that through ball time and time again because he's caught sleeping. And then I think it was Cher that come in and lunged in.
Stay on your feet. Is that not schoolboy rules? Stay on your feet.
Dan Burn
Even if you're just going to barge him, just barge him then.
That's it.
I didn't get why he slid.
And then obviously Jackson's free in the centre because Burn can't get back. 1-0, right?
Yeah, and Jackson scored as well. I don't like Jackson. Anyway,
it's a long day, innit? But listen, the credit we got it back into the game. We got a bit more control in the game after that. We settled down a bit. And then the equaliser comes, and it was a well-worked equaliser. And that's why I give the shout out to Chile Mentor, because he did his textbook driving forward and playing 1-2s with, I think first it was with Joe Linton.
Yeah, he actually came onto the left-hand side.
Yeah,
completely.
And then
At the time, I was a bit worried about. Cause I was like, bro, you're leaving your area. Like,
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
all
if you
is
lose that,
ball,
we're finished.
We'll come on to that because he's at fault for the second goal. Doing the same thing. He's at
Yeah.
fault for the second goal. We'll come on to that.
Who's that for?
Tino.
you know.
He gets
Nah,
in
but-
Bruno's way. Bruno can't get to the ball because he's come in the midfield, and I think they both went for the same ball.
No. The second goal. Do you know whose fault that was? Isak.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Isak lost the ball, but you know where it was in that it came.
Yeah,
in that
it came. Yeah,
and
you're right.
I think Bruno thought he had no one around him. I think he tried to intercept the ball, something, and he's looked and he's like, basically, Tino, what are you doing? Like you've run 15 yards to get the ball, and then there's a gap on the right side there.
Too big a gap. But the goal that we scored,
Crazy.
listen, credit to obviously Harvey Barnes lays off to Lewis Hall, credit to Hall, whips it forward, and there's Isak with the tapping. All right. So I thought, all right, okay, settle down, get it to halftime. You never, we're good, isn't it? Yeah. If we concede on halftime, it could be a long day, but get to halftime. What do? Straight after halftime. Yeah, this is when they score, and this is the problem. Yeah, like first of all,
concede straight after half time. You've noticed that this season. We concede straight after half time every time. Go on, continue.
The ball comes in straight for the Isak. Instead of holding it up and playing it off, he tries to do a fancy flick, right? A fancy flick, and he loses possession. Yeah. Then that's when the calamity happens between Bruno and Tino. Yeah. But my problem is Fabian Schär. Yeah.
Wow, he had a shocking game.
Cole Palmer has not got a right foot. Why are you not ushering him onto your right foot? Why are you backing off on him, giving the time of day to shoot it? Well, to practically p-roll it.
Gets beat at his near post. Wow.
At his near, and the worst thing, he's stretching at his near post. He's stretching. But what are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know, man.
Schoolboy errors. Yeah. And from that, I thought, you know what, we'll never get back in this game. But then comes a moment where we should have equalized, right?
The header first.
Oh yeah.
How does he not get power on that?
On that, yeah. That was a bad miss. But the one I'm talking, bruv, he's bullied Fofana, right?
This makes you feel sick.
He's gone through.
Makes you feel sick.
He's rounded the keeper, right? All he has to do, right, is square it to Joe Linton, who's got an open goal. Even I think Longstaff was there as well.
Or shoot as well.
Yeah. But he tried to do some fancy flick, step over, and they take it off him. From that, yeah, any manager worth their salt subs him.
Substitute, yeah.
Yeah. Haul him off. Yeah. You ain't farting around like that and think you can get away with it. No. I don't care who we've got on the bench. You're coming off. Yeah. You're coming off because, and also I was watching Isak's body language throughout the game, and bare time he's moping around, just soaking.
He's soaking, yeah.
Yeah, but I was not impressed.
It's the contract talks, isn't it?
But if it's right, what's been said about what he wants and what he's whatever, you need to prove it.
$400,000.
What?
Apparently, the club wanted to give it to him, but they can't justify it because of PSR at the moment.
Listen, how much?
400 grand.
400 grand. Listen, if you're asking for 400 grand, you want to leave the club because you know we can't pay that. So you're just going to make unreasonable demands. So you want to piss off. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to piss off. He's had enough. And part of me doesn't blame him. But at the same time, when you put performances like that, you're not helping yourself, bro. You're not helping yourself. Yeah?
But this is the thing, like you when it comes to like the sale of a player, you're only good as your last or your current season. Because at the moment, his season is so far. Let's be honest, guys. It's poor. But I know there's many attributes to that of like, I don't know. People will say like, oh, he's been injured though. You know, I'm like, yeah, he hasn't had service. Yeah. But it is what it is, though. It's just like he's not been performing. He scored 2 goals so far this season.
That's not
good.
I
don't think he's a centre forward. I'm going to be real with you. I think he's a 9/10 because apparently in the role, I've not really watched him too much of Sweden in a while, but apparently he plays a little bit deeper for Sweden. He doesn't
got the other guy, though.
Is it Gyökeres?
Gyökeres, yeah.
I think they play Gyökeres as a centre forward, and then Isak's like Harry Kane. He's like that 9/10 role.
But this is the point. Is this just like I do believe that, like, despite like we have a limited squad right now, if I'm forget, let's jump into this formation chat right now, because if you were to change up this formation, right, and you go with the 4-2-1.
Two. Yeah,
double
that's
pivot.
that's where you see the best of Tonali. Yeah, in
Yeah.
the 2. Yeah,
Agreed.
because
Agreed.
let's go through the performances to it, because we know defensively. Listen, Tino nightmare, Pope nightmare, Burn and Shea are too slow. They had a nightmare, right? But you see, all right, we'll start with the midfield.
Pipe wouldn't catch the ball anyway.
No one.
This is mad stuff. Pipe was stressing me out, man.
You know, it's against Everton. You know, it's against Everton. Bruno finally did it. He was like, fuck this, I'm gonna sit deeper. And he was sweeping up a lot of stuff. And he was having to go against Decore and I think it was Gay. And he kept them quiet. Whereas if you notice yesterday, Cachado and Lavia had them done, mate. Cachado was so physical.
I will say, yeah. With the midfield, all right. Bruno, he grew into the game, right? He started off quite sluggish and he grew into the game, but he was trying to take the the game by the strap of his neck and create, make things happen. And I give him credit for that. Tonali, yeah. What I noticed about Tonali, right? First of all, he was doing these little intricate passes and stuff, and he was trying to put himself about and do a lot of running and stuff. What I noticed about Tonali, where he likes the quick pass, yeah, we're not on that level. There's no one there that can do it with him. And what he does, once he releases it, I don't know if you lot saw how many times he made a darting run to get behind Chelsea's defense, and no one even looked at him.
It doesn't come back.
It doesn't come back. So to me, to the naked eye, it looks like he's not doing nothing, not doing much. Don't get me wrong, he could be doing better, right? But in that formation, if you're going to play him under 8, utilize him. Utilizing what he's trying to do, then burst in runs and try to find him. If not, put him in a double pivot with Bruno and you'll see the best of him. What I will say about Joe Linton, yeah, you said that he did well on the left, but even you talk about the physicality. Do you know how many times he bullied those Chelsea players, bro? When he receiving the ball, which is not his strongest body, he was actually very good yesterday. Receiving the ball on the turn, they tried to get the ball of him. There's one time when he actually bodied Reece James, bro. He bodied him, and another time he bodied Lavia. Yeah, and one time it was Casado as well. They could not. I was talking to my father. Every time I said he's a bully, he's an absolute bully. They cannot get near him. Like he physically, he was the strongest of all the midfield. But when you've got Tonali and Bruno, who's not as physical as him, and you've got Lavia and Casado, who are quite physical, they will overpower it at the end of the day, right?
And they're quick, isn't it? They're just boom, 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 boom.
The way they were playing around them, it was just they were so mobile.
Joe Linton's so good at like ball recovery and just like getting the ball, getting out of trouble, and then just lay it off easily. He's so good at that.
Yeah.
He does it all the time.
The speed. So what you're talking about with Tonali, there's that quick frequency. That's what I feel Bruno and Joe Linton lack. They can't move the ball quickly. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what we need. And that's why I think Joe Linton, he can do the dirty job. He can do the dirty job. But I think he's better out wide. And actually, they need to get one of Willock or Longstaff in there.
You're right. Had they started Willock, Willock in left midfield and Joe Linton on the left, because you see Harvey Barnes, trash, absolute trash. You see that brother, every time he got the ball, one or two things were happening. They stood on him and say, cut inside, innit? Cut inside, and see what the smugglers. So they tried to. If he tried to go left, he's got nothing. And what they did, the term he used, bullied. Do you remember the time he got flung off the ball?
Malo Gusto had him, didn't he?
He got flung off the ball like a rag doll.
Although he did get, I thought, was it Gusto that fouled him? There was one time he ran through and they play on, and I thought that was
they literally knocked him off the feet.
That was naughty, and the ref didn't do anything.
I thought he was going to call it back when he stopped the booking, but he didn't. Yeah, he didn't. But Barnes had an absolute nightmare. But listen, across the board, we weren't very good. Right, very good. But
just to stay with Tonali though, when they showed the replay on Sky, because I didn't notice it before, he is at fault a little bit for that first goal, because he literally, you watch it, he's upright, standing, and watches Palmer play the pass instead of sprinting to get to and block it. And that happened a little bit last season before he got banned. Remember the goal that West Ham scored?
West Ham, he
doesn't play. He's literally just pedestrian, and that's what I'm talking about. It's off the ball. You can be great on the ball, but when you're in that central midfield, particularly when there's the three of you,
and that's the difference. I suppose with Longstaff. Longstaff is better maybe off the ball, but on the ball, as soon as you come on the pitch, you start giving it away, start giving the ball away. He was useless on the ball to the point where he didn't even want the ball after for a while. Yeah, but off the ball, it brings a lot more balance defensively to the midfield. I get that kind of.
I do think it's just an absolute shambles that, like, we all know how Chelsea are going to play. We all know they're going to look to Palmer, and it's like we had nothing to answer to that, like nothing. Because when I looked at it, I was just like, I know, going back to the formation thing, but obviously they had the formation set up with that Lavi and Casado, and I was like, that's what we got to do with Bruno and Tonali. But the thing is, like, if we mirrored their formation, we actually might have kept Palmer quiet, because you start having two players who just protect, man, and Palmer will not find that space, because what they did some smart moves, but sometimes Gusto was coming up forward, so what that does, it creates distraction, and before you know it, they feed Palmer's in space every time, because
every time he's finding space, every time.
So,
shout out to Lewis Hall though, because he kept Madueke very quiet. To be fair, I thought that could be a long day for him, and he was very good. I thought Lewis Hall was very good.
To be honest, I thought Madueke was going to give us a lot of problems, but in the end, to be honest, it was the other wing. It was Neto who was just like all over the place.
Neto had a very good game.
We need to change something at centre back, and it's a shame because I think Dan Burn has actually done really well. We've talked about it week on week. He's made clearances, blocks, and everything like that. I would like to see us try it. To be honest, I'd rather just no more Share now. I think I'm actually done with Share. I've seen enough of him in the last few games. He's been so awful, honestly. I think he's way past his best now. He's gone.
I'm not taking that.
It would be good to see Kelly at centre back, because he's got speed. And remember, Kelly has got that cross switch pass just from the left side.
Yeah, but
unless one of them sacrifice and plays right side.
I'm gonna say, can Kelly play on the right side? I don't know.
It'll be worth trying. It'll be worth trying, because for me, Fabian Schär, I weren't seeing him. He weren't winning any duels or anything like that. He's moping around. Don't get me wrong. I think he was set up by poor tactics, but
I think to a degree, the centre backs, the pair of them were just. I think they were from 4 minutes, guys. From 4 minutes, they just looked pissed off. They were like literally looking at. So I don't really blame them. They were pissed off, because when you're in that formation kind of shape and you're left for dead on every single attack you're receiving, it's a long.
You're going to be upset, and it's really, they show their age, innit? They show their age.
I got to track this every single time, and it's just like.
But listen, all right, game aside now, we're now sitting in 12th place, right? Now, we've been saying it for a long time about Eddie Howe's tenure and what we think should happen. Are you seeing a change in the fan base? Because I am, like, about their views towards Eddie Howe, right?
Massive.
How long does he have?
One more point I just remembered. Is it true? I'm not sure how true this is, that we haven't scored in over 80 set pieces?
Yeah.
Or 80 corners. And isn't it meant to be Jason Tindall that does the corners routine?
Yeah.
Is it 80 corners? Because
it was 70 plus, I think. I heard.
I think I saw a stat before we took our first corner in the Chelsea game. It was like 50 corners, no goals from it, and stuff like that.
Well, we had 15 yesterday, innit? Or something like that. So
last I heard it was 77. The last I heard it was 70 plus or something. And then someone put it on Twitter that was 80 plus, and I was like, really?
Yeah, that might be including the games as well. But
so I thought I'd just mention that. It's not just Eddie, it's Jason Tindall as well.
Yeah, to be honest. We barely mentioned Jason Tindall, but like he's definitely, we have to point the fingers at him too, because that's a lot of corners. And to be honest, every time we get a corner, and this is the point it's at now, because I don't know, man, the Steve Bruce era is creeping in, I feel like, because when I watch the Steve Bruce era, right, we would get corners. I will never feel like we're going to get anything from it. I would just be like, you know, the edge of your seat, like, can we get something from this? It's just like, yeah, we got a corner. Nothing's going to happen from this. And I felt like there was a lot of times yesterday where I just felt like nothing was surprising. And I think I tweeted, I said, this is a game where nothing surprises me. That 4-minute goal disallowed did not surprise me. Because I was like, this is Chelsea we're at, right? And it's just like,
we're too predictable, bro. We're too predictable.
And also, I I'm getting so fed up of the substitution framework here. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it. 65 minutes every
Every time.
single game.
Oh
And what
wait,
it does,
Asula with
it's
2 minutes to go. With 2 minutes to go.
it's sub for sub every time. And I'm sorry, I was fuming through the teeth that Tonali got subbed off. I was like, oh,
Right,
this is
the booze,
ridiculous.
the booze rang out when he got subbed.
But the team did improve though. I'm not sure if that was because of Tarnley, but the actual midfield shape, we improved. We were in the ascendancy, but because the balance of the team was better. But I think a lot of that is what we discussed. It's just because Eddie has a flat 3 when he should be doing a 2 and a 1. To be honest, if you do it like that, as well, Joe Linton wouldn't even start in the midfield. Actually,
no, you start Willock.
Yeah, you would
put Willock there.
So
this is the thing. I think it would be Tonali and Bruno doing a double pivot, right? I think on the left-hand side, when you got the 3 in front, you put Joe Linton on the left, right? Especially for that Chelsea game. Put Joe Linton on the left, put Willock behind Isak, and then on the right, you got Almiron. I'm telling you.
Is the manager going to do that? Has he gone stale?
No.
Is he
no, he will never do that.
Flexible. It's the same as the Bournemouth. So how can I explain it? Look where we are. We have descended to mid-table. So all you fans that are like, give Eddie a chance. If you like mediocrity, good for you, because I don't. The same happened with Bournemouth. They went from mid-table to a relegation team. We've gone from a team that's battling for top 6 to mid-table now. There is a clear and evident regression. We are closer to the bottom 6 than we are to the top 6.
We'll be 15th come the end of the game. We're 15th. After the next game, we'll be 15th. Yeah?
He has to be sacked after the Arsenal defeat.
Yeah,
because it will be an Arsenal defeat. And even if we beat Arsenal, it's papering over the cracks. He needs to go. He needs to go.
We're not beating Arsenal.
We're not beating Arsenal, and we're not beating Forest either. I tell you that for free. We're not beating Forest. Yeah?
We've lost out on Thomas Tuchel because we took too long. We've lost out on Thomas Tuchel. We've now lost out on Ruben Amorim. Who's next? Terzic? Because if Ange Postecoglou loses again, Spurs will sack him. And I reckon they'll go for Terzic.
Bro,
and then
West Ham
are more
the Slaven Bilic links, isn't it? He was there as assistant coach, by the way, under Slaven Bilic. So
I think it's such a thin line at the moment because that game of the day on the Sunday, I was just like, if Man United win this, I think West Ham are going to sack their manager. You know,
that's what I figured.
Because and it's funny how the table has turned because now Ten Hag has gone right. So I'm like, bro, there's a lot of teams right now that are just like, you are like,
surely we should be taking note because at the end of the day, they've sacked Ten Hag, who's won two trophies, and they're only 1 point behind us. Yeah, they're 1 point behind us. So why don't we pay attention to what's going around and say, you know what, stop the bleeding now, right? and start afresh before it's too late. Because like I said, if we get to 15th after the Arsenal game and we have to go to Forest, and then a rejuvenated West Ham, we're screwed. We're absolutely screwed. We'll be 17th, we could be 16th, 17th. I don't know what the gap is, but we could be 16th, 17th. We could be below Leicester. We could, in 2 games' time, we could be below Leicester City, bro.
Do people not understand? He's going to play the same 4-3-3. He's going to make the same substitutions. What are they seeing that we're not? He's not changing anything tactically. The team is not improving. You know, sometimes when you see managers, they start getting desperate. We've not even seen that from Eddie. So is that arrogance? Is that overconfidence? Because if he was suddenly like, oh, Isak, you're dropped, or Sula, you're starting, I'd be like, oh, that's brave. But you know what? At least he's trying something.
Bro,
he's doing the same thing.
In 2 games' time, we could be 17th. If we lose to Arsenal and to Forest, Palace are on 6 points. If they win their next 2 games, remember they just beat Tottenham, so they're going to be confident, bro. Yeah. If they win their next 2 games, we are below. We're below them. And then you've got Everton
above us.
Brentford,
this is embarrassing. Bournemouth are above us as well, isn't it?
Bournemouth are above us.
He's got to go.
Forest are 6. Are Forest still 6?
7. They're 7.
If he wasn't so selfish, he should resign. He's ruining his own legacy and his own future opportunities for other jobs. And I'm so jealous of Man United. I've been going on about Amorim for so long. This guy could be an elite coach in the making. I'm telling you now, he's got something about him. He's a winner. He has transformed Lisbon. I'm telling you now, Man United have got a really good appointment there. I know they're a mess and it will take a while, but we've seen the transformation. If you get the appointment right, we've seen what happens with Emery at Villa. We've stuck with Eddie, and it's not paying any dividends. It's time for him to go, and I think it's time for the board to really
To be
prove that they're
ruthless.
serious about this now. Yeah, and
Yeah,
get a manager that's going to
think
come in and adapt to the director of football, and we make some signings in January to save our season.
I think the board are smart though. I think they've got plans in I won't say plans in motion, but they have something geared up for the situation. I don't think we're not prepared, or I think they are, because this is the point, man, where I don't like saying this analogy, but it's like, Eddie Howe, man, you are literally going to fall on your sword here. As a soldier you are, as a man you are to hit on the battlefield.
What's the saying? Die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
The villain, yeah.
So, and he's
But
in that stage now.
I just wanna loop back round to the AC was right. On the last episode, I said we could be 15th before we know it. I said it. I said
You
the
did.
math. You got to do the math. I have to admit, I didn't expect Forest to win on the weekend like that, and I didn't expect some other teams. But it is what it is. But
And here we are.
I don't know, man. And obviously now our next game is this cup game. I feel
I'm going
like
to that as well. Don't piss me off, man.
majority. I feel like the fan base at the moment is. I think they have to. I think most of my feeling of like go home or go bust kind of thing. So it's like you have to.
If we lose that,
game.
you're going to hear the fans will be voting with their voices. You will hear,
the thing is,
and that's when you're going to realize.
It's at St. James's as well, so it could be really, really thing. And I do want to say as well, I did listen to the post interview from Bruno, and you can hear in his voice, man, he's just disappointed. He's just like, and I think this is the thing as well. When there's a snowball going downhill like this, players are falling out of each other. There's just not good energy, man. And I feel like it's just like, there's also that thing of like, when have you seen a manager in this position, no matter what team it is, but this ball is going downhill at a rapid pace and the team is just regressing? Have you ever seen a manager just turn it around and they bounce, and then the next minute they got 6 games on the win, and then it doesn't happen because it's so hard to turn it around. And I think the problem with managers in this position as well, especially Eddie Howe, is just that he's so fixated on like just the usual thing that he does. Like he's never gonna change the formation. Like it's like it's so late now in the day now. It's like, even if you were do it, I don't think you're gonna execute it properly. So we're still going to lose.
Let's call it what it is, bro. The season is over. The season's a wrap. It's done. Yeah,
we're not making top 6.
We're not making top 6. It's
and I hate to say it as well, but the outcome of this as well, and I'm come to terms with it a bit, that this is Bruno's last season. He will leave, and that's going to be sad, man. But it is what it is, because I do feel like we are going to lose probably 1 or 2 key players on the outcome of this, because I can't honestly. I know people are like, it's still early, the gap. I'm like, no.
Sack the manager, we might be able to save it. Sack the manager, we might be able to save it. You bring in someone like Terzic, who got Dortmund to the Champions League final, they might stay. We need another upper class of manager now.
There was one thing, and I'll leave it on this note, my last piece on this, because I feel like by the end of this week, I think it's going to escalate. And I don't want to say that like my man is definitely going to be sacked by Monday morning, but
he has to be sacked.
Those 2 games on the bounce of losing, it's not going to be in a good state. But I will say this:
1 point from the last 3 games.
Whoever comes in as manager, right? There is a good setup at place. We got Paul Mitchell, who hasn't even kicked into work yet. We know it's going to come. Also, there is money on the table to spend. This whole narrative, we don't have money. There is money on the table to spend, and I think, in hindsight, we might be blessed that we didn't spend in the summer, because now there's kitty on the table. If we sell some key players, next summer transfer window could look different for us as well. And we cut some dead wood. We might turn this around with a new manager quite sooner than we think, really. So, but the blessings is that, you know, we just have to move on with a new manager as soon as possible, because if they dare let this run out, and like you said, we just keep bleeding, keep bleeding, no band-aid, no nothing, no first aid, just on the side, just leaking it out, boy. Christmas fixtures could be
don't let him spend in January. That's what I say. Don't let him spend in January.
He won't make it to January.
Don't let him even reach December. I want man gone. Like after this Arsenal defeat, because it will be a defeat, I want him gone. Please.
Right.
Please,
We'll leave it there. If you want to continue to subscribe after this cousin.
Eddie out. Eddie out. Eddie out.
You can catch us on the audio on the Spotify and the Apple Podcast. But yeah, we'll leave it there, people. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Peace, people. Yeah.
They stopped the bleeding, brother. End of the day, they stopped the bleeding. We haven't done that yet, so we need to learn from them.
Had to do.
Yeah.
The thing is that I don't. And obviously, I say it because I don't like Man United. Never have done. They're the biggest out of all the teams in the league, and I just don't like Man United. But I do think though that let's face it, they've been shit since Ferguson left, right? Yeah. They have been shit. They've never been good since. We're talking years now. Years. They might have some highlight of being good here and there, but they've been shit. So and I just think no matter who's going to come in,
it's not going to transform things.
They've got issues. They've got issues.
Yeah,
they've got
from top to bottom.
They've got top to bottom. They're still. I know Jim Ratcliffe is sacking people here and there or cutting expenditures, not extending Ferguson's like. What was he doing for the club? Like,
is it ambassadorship?
Yeah.
Ambassador, like stop paying him for ambassadors, stuff like that. And
but the thing
I'm actually surprised that they want to go for a foreign manager, because I thought Jim, being here he is a very Brexit person, so he just wants British blood only as manager. Because you get that feeling with that kind of that hierarchy. I thought it was going to be Gareth, and who knows? It's not guaranteed that it will be my man coming in, but I thought he would want British management to come in and just want to be like, I want Man United to be British again, like very. Yeah,
but the problem that they have is that they've literally just bought all of Ten Hag's players. Yeah, every player that he wanted, they've got. They extended the contract, so now this new manager is going to have to come in, and for a time he's going to have to play with players that he don't want, that probably can't play his style of play. And now they're going to have to pay off people's contracts or sell them, try to get a decent price for them to get more players in for the summer. Not to mention they've got to pay a compensation package for Amorim. Then they've got to pay off Ten Hag and his staff. So they're bleeding money. They're absolutely
27 million total. 27 million. 17 to Ten Hag and 10 million release clause for Amorim.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't thinking.
And just to say one last thing is that because I was listening earlier to I was on my lunch break actually, and I just caught it just off the chance that Lineker, Shearer, and Michael Richards, they had their podcast. They did emergency live stream, which was quite interesting actually, because analysing how they did live stream as well. Anyway, it was the first time. But then Lineker went through the list of all the players that Ten Hag has brought on the list. Bro, they're like minimum are like 50 mil. They're like 50 mil here, 60 mil there, 85 there, 90 mil there. And you forget, like, they all add up. Like their keeper was brought for like 60 mil. It's just like, what? And I don't know. It's quite shocking in a way, because you realize that it's just a lot of money. But at the same time, I feel like they still got good players in there that I think they could be utilized. But at the same time, they got a lot of crud they need to cut off. Like,
there's so much dead wood in that squad.
There's a lot of dead wood, and I feel like people don't want to hear it, but I think Rashford is part of that dead wood. You need to cut people off, but this is like Man United's problem, and I think that's the issue. They won't cut the dead wood. It'd be interesting then now who comes in, will they cut the dead wood? And I don't think they will. And also, with dead wood, it takes about 2 seasons to get rid of a dead wood. So it's like, in 2 seasons' time, is your new manager you're coming in going to still be there?
Exactly. They're
interesting. So you're going to do this thing where potentially that manager might leave, and then you're starting again. But to be honest, it's a very similar scenario to with us with Eddie Howe, because I'm feeling like we're the same. It's like we got a lot of dead wood. Some got contract expiring next year, I think. But we're in the same situation where it could still take us another 2 seasons with a dead wood. But the problem is that we've wasted the last 3 years not getting rid of any dead wood.
Yeah.
We've only sold like Shelby and bloody who else we sold? Like
Wood.
But Wood
Alan
wasn't part of the
Saint-Maximin.
Wood wasn't part of the original regime, was
Oh,
he?
the
Because I'm
original
talking
one,
about
yeah.
players who were there with Bruce. So
yes.
who was there with
you-
Bruce? We had Shelby.
Carl Darlow, Manquillo, Saint-Maximin, Shelby. There's not many. Obviously, Lewis has gone on loan. I think what's his name? Hendrick. He's been released. Hayden is a funny one. I think we're still paying Hayden.
Yeah,
He's
he's
still on the
on the
book.
book. Still on the books. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a few of them still around, but yeah,
Yeah.
not
Right.
enough sales. I agree.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, we need to start the podcast properly. But anyway.
Yeah, man. All right. Cool.